Wow, there's a lot of difficulties in Korea.
But I think my difficulty is usually with Korean men. I'm sorry because you guys are all men here. I'm so sorry.
I understand the term and why they say they use it, but I would really prefer it if they didn't use it.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Paris Kagiri. I am currently modeling in Korea and I'm 23 years old.
Okay, so my name is Paleswa and I am from South Africa and I'm currently based in Korea, as you can see.
Hi everyone, my name is Zizi Waters and I'm 23 years old and I'm from South Africa and I'm currently a native English teacher here and I'm teaching in Yesan.
How long have you been in Korea?
I have been here for 1 year now.
I've been in Korea for 2 years now.
About 7 months now.
How do you feel about Korea?
Korea has its ups and downs. I want to be like, Korea is this nice place, but to be honest, it's sometimes very difficult living here, especially being that I am Black. That's the first thing Koreans will see is I am Black. So it's sometimes difficult, but I have moments where I'm like, this is an amazing country. And yeah, it is an amazing country, but difficult times still, so yeah.
Have you ever experienced any difficulties living in Korea for 2 years?
Wow, there's a lot of difficulties in Korea. Korea is quite amazing as a country and it has, obviously like any country, there's disadvantages and there's advantages. So for me, I think some of the things that are not so good that I've experienced is the preconceived notions that Koreans have about Black people. And some of them, they think that Black people are maybe loud and we like fighting and just like the personalities that they expect you to have just because you're Black. And again, in terms of personal space as well, I've found that sometimes when you walk into a bus, maybe there's like a few guys sitting down, then they will start like talking about your body, how you're shaped and all of that, it can get really uncomfortable sometimes. And also, I think the stalking as well. I mean, one time I was walking down the street and a Korean guy sent me a message via Instagram. And I don't know how he found me. And he was just like, oh, I saw you by the way, and you're wearing 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, okay, so it can get a bit creepy sometimes.
I'm trying to really specify because I don't want to offend anyone and I hope nobody gets offended by what I say. But I think my difficulty is usually with Korean men. I'm sorry because you guys are all men here, I'm so sorry. But I've had a lot of situations where I've been stalked or people feel like they can come into my personal bubble just because I am a foreign woman. Or I get questions asked that I know a Korean female would never be asked of, especially sexual questions where you would never say this to a Korean woman, so why are you saying this to me? So a lot of those things, I have a lot of difficulties with just personal space, personal questions, and I guess just people generally sometimes don't know how to just chill for a bit sometimes.
So when I first came here to Korea, I think there was a lot of air pollution. It was about winter, so I think that's one thing I remember that was really hard to get used to was the air pollution and how much that actually affected my mood and like how I experienced Korea, because even though things around me it was a good time, but I think the air pollution was really bringing me down, which was something I didn't really expect to happen. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the biggest prejudice that Korean people have about Black people is that all the Black people are really good at singing and rap and R&B things. What do you think about it?
I think most of them are quite true. I mean, African people, we can dance, we can sing, most of us. It's in us, you're born with it. So those are true, but you do find others that are not so true, like in terms of saying, just like I mentioned, your personalities, like you like fighting, you're loud, and you just like someone who's just always in people's faces, which I don't know, it's not really true because I think as an individual we'll have all different personalities just as much as Koreans also have different personalities. So I think it's not really fair to group people into one, like generalized, so to say.
A lot of Koreans are thinking that Black people are very soulful and swag.
Right.
What do you think about those kind of things?
I feel like it's true. To some degree, we have a lot of swag, yes, and we are very soulful, but I think that's because as Black people, we're very expressive in the way we speak and in the way we bring a point across something. So we can't keep it within ourselves. We have to show it, and so I think that's why Koreans would think that, because Koreans strike me to be sometimes more reserved and more together, whereas African people, we like expressing ourselves.
As a Black person living in Korea,
Yeah.
have you had any experience about the races?
I personally have not, and I'm very grateful for that, for not having any racist experiences. And I think that comes to me looking a certain way. I think once you're perceived by Koreans as pretty or beautiful, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but when Koreans look at me, they will think I'm pretty. And I'm very thankful for that. I'm not trying to be I'm the best, no. But because I am perceived this way, I think I have friends who are not perceived in the same way, that they're not considered pretty here. And for them, they have experiences where if they sit next to an ajumma on the subway, the ajumma will completely get up and move, where I've never had that experience. But for me hearing my friend has those experiences, it's really saddening, because we might be Black, but we're humans, there's nothing that makes us different from you guys, So it's very disheartening, but I personally haven't experienced racism.
I have really, let's see. I think one thing is maybe sitting down in a bus, and then you can see a lot of, maybe you in a bus, and then people are coming in, and there's a Korean person, there's space next to them, and then you're sitting here and there's space next to you. You can literally see someone getting confused, oh my word, where can I sit? Because they don't want to sit next to you. And I found that maybe some people really, they get shy to speak. Maybe they feel like you would want to speak to them in English, and they're shy to say maybe they don't speak English. And some of them, I have recognized that it's because of they really don't know how to act around Black people. So those are some of the things. And I think also in certain clubs, if I may say, or places of entertainment that we go to, there's certain places where they don't really allow foreigners to go in. So those are some of the racial things that I've experienced since I've been in Korea.
So I think the one thing that really first came to me as racism for the first time was when I was in Hongdae, and I went into a club, and everybody was being led into the club, but then when it came to me and my friends, the guard just kind of was step to the side, and we stepped to the side, and then nothing was said after that. We were just left standing there. And then after that experience, I was oh wow, actually they really do this, because I heard about it before I came here, but to experience it for myself, that I wasn't allowed into a place just because of my skin color, yeah, it was a bit hard. And from then on, I was I guess no clubs for me. Yeah, so that was it.
Before you come to Korea,
Yeah.
if there were any worries or advices that you heard to be worried?
I think my dad, before I came here first to study abroad 2 years ago, and my dad was very concerned about stalking and pickpocketing. And I think pickpocketing is not a big thing in Korea. Even back then, I don't think stealing in Korea is not that common, I think. But the stalking part, I have felt that a lot, and I can see why my dad was worried back then. But safety-wise, Korea is very safe, but those are the only worries that I had was people stealing my things and stalking. That was about it.
I wouldn't say, because the people around me didn't really have any experience in regards to South Korea, but I did my own research before coming here, and it did really help me a lot, because I found that as Koreans, Koreans deal with things differently from how we deal with things, I think, as Black people. I think Koreans have a way of sort of masking how they feel, and masking a lot of if they experience maybe something negative, they wouldn't really come out and say, okay, I don't like 1, 2, 3. Whereas as Black people, sometimes, especially for myself, I am very confrontational, nicely confrontational. I like it when someone comes to me and tells me that, oh, I have a problem with 1, 2, 3. But I found that being in Korea, they mask a lot of things and they hide a lot of things. It's sort of you taught not to talk about how you feel. So that's one of the things that I've experienced since I've been here.
Have you heard of the terms called 흑형? 흑누나?
Yes. Yes, I've heard
You know what
them.
it means?
Yes. Yes, I do know what it means. So like black brother, black sister, basically that. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
What do you think about the term?
Like I know a lot of Korean people have explained it to be a term of like respect, showing respect, and that because you know we're very strong and we can play basketball, we can sing, we're talented, and I'm like I understand that, but the problem is if you don't have a term like Pek Nuna or Pek Hyung or something like that, like I feel like then we shouldn't have a term for us, because once you say Hook Nuna and Hook Hyung, you kind of put us in a box and you don't allow us to be individuals. And now all of a sudden we have a term and you have expectations about us when you put that term on us, and nobody really likes to be described from the first go from their skin color and already have perceptions put upon them that they must live up to. Because I get a lot of Korean people like, oh, can you twerk? And I'm like, no, I really can't twerk. But they really think that. So that's, it gets kind of hectic. So I understand the term and why they say they use it, but I would really prefer it if they didn't use it, yeah.
As representative like black people, people, if there's anything you want to say to Korean people.
I think Korean people should not generalize. They should really get to know a person for who they really are. Don't put me in a box that you think black people are supposed to be or are supposed to act, because I'm my own person and my personality is very different, and I do understand that there's a common thing maybe about black people, but it's not really common to say once you meet me you know me as a person. I think get to know a person for who they are and try and learn as much as you can, because I feel like Koreans sometimes they get to be a bit close-minded when it comes to black people. So I think just try and learn a person for who they are.
Right now, I would like Korean people to learn more about black people, and not in just the fact that like just the black culture, but black people individually. I feel like we're not considered as humans sometimes. I feel like they just consider us as like zoo animals to look at, whereas there's so much more to us. People usually say when they see a black person, they're strong, independent, but they don't really think of something else, like smart, pretty, beautiful, talented, something else other than just our skin color. I really would like Korean people to understand that there's so much about us that's similar, even though we seem so different, that they should just see us and want to get to know us for truly who we are, instead of just saying, oh, here's another black person, let me put upon them what I think or I feel like I already know about black people.
I think being a black person, there's a lot that I expect, but as for me, I expect to stay, I'm gonna stay one more year, and depending on how that year goes, I'm just gonna keep extending my stay. So far, yeah, I will be extending one more year. What I hope from Koreans is, this is so weird, but I hope that Koreans can be more accepting. I think that Koreans think they're accepting, but to be honest, they're not. Like, it's really hard for me to like come here and say that, but I think Koreans still see foreigners as foreigners, and we understand we are foreigners, but there are a lot of foreigners who are trying to be accepting of Korean culture and try very hard to be accepting of Korean culture, but we don't see the same from Koreans. Like, from some Koreans, we're still foreigners and we'll only be foreigners, and we will never be humans. We'll always be foreigners. So I just hope we can all be humanized. And for black people, I hope Koreans stop seeing us as zoo animals. We are not animals. We don't like being touched. We don't like being stared at. We don't like it. And it's really disheartening to see somebody staring at me because my skin color is just different. And I know some Koreans think it's like, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Like, I've personally developed anxiety in Korea because I have people go, "Oma, 예봐," and I'm just like, seriously? Like, that's not okay. Or I've had like a Korean guy come up to me and touch me, and I'm like, why are you touching me? So I really hope that Koreans can stop seeing black people as animals.